And Stephen, as you and I both know, we've got limitations to our understanding, and yet some people, I suspect, think that a building survey is only telling them what other information they need to find. How do you deal with that?
I think a surveyor is, to some extent, a bit like your GP. It's the first point of reference. So you go in and you're looking at it holistically, and a good surveyor should be able to identify, firstly, if it's basically sound, and what sort of problems there are, and what category of problems there might be. So are there things that could be left for some years and dealt with in due course, maybe part of the maintenance and cyclical redecoration? Or are there things that need to be dealt with straight away, immediately, urgently? And sometimes there are things that we say to a client, get this looked at before you purchase. As far as where a surveyor's experience ends and a specialist perhaps starts, that depends more on the surveyor. I try to encourage all our surveyors to assess the building properly and thoroughly and try to avoid referral on to others. The main areas we have to be careful with are with services, because we're not electricians, heating engineers, plumbers. So there's a limit to what we can do there, and we're more likely to say get an electrician to check the electrics, get a heating engineer to look at the boiler. But when it comes to structural movement, when it comes to timber and damp, I think it's the surveyor's job to assess the problems, and I think that's more often than not possible. I don't think it's appropriate to simply refer to others as a normal matter of recourse anyway.
And things like radon and asbestos, presumably you wouldn't be able to look at either.
No, radon, obviously an invisible gas. There are government websites that tell us whether it should be in a radon area, so we check on that. As far as asbestos is concerned, we do look for signs of asbestos and should be able to identify the likelihood of asbestos being present. But if we suspect asbestos, then we ask for further or suggest further reports. But sometimes it depends what the client's going to do to it. If they're going to leave it all alone, so long as they're aware it's there, then that's really all that they need to be concerned about immediately. If they're going to do major works, then of course they're going to have an asbestos survey to identify where it is and what they need to do about it, if anything.